Welcome to the video, guys. Following on from a few weeks ago when I covered the 6 F1 drivers who refused to bend the knee despite Lewis I hate my own mother because she is white Hamilton running around media organisations trying to push his agenda on them and coerce them into joining his virtue signalling nonsense. They all refused and actually stood firm, which I pointed out at the time and called them legends for, and rightly so. Well, it seems more athletes in other sports are actually taking a stand against this demand for submission, because we recently had a player from the Catalan Dragons refuse to take the knee despite everyone else submitting to this ludicrous agenda that has nothing to do with black lives. I mean, its name should actually be Black Lives Matter when we can politicise them, because they are the only ones this movement cares about, as we all know. But like I said, this rugby player stood alone and stood tall, refusing to bend the knee, which obviously got the left-wing fuckpigs going into absolute shit fits, which the media picked up on, but that is not surprising to us. Now, what is surprising to me is that the club and his coach actually come out and defended him, which is obviously not something that usually happens. Sky News have picked up on it here, so we will take a quick look at the article about his stand against subservience and his coach's support for his player. Now, before we get into that, remember the channel's daily live stream has moved over to Twitch, so if you want to join me over there to chat in real time and have a laugh, the link will be down in the video description along with the channel's other social media links. But back to the Sky News article and the player who stood tall despite obviously everyone kneeling beside him. It headlines Israel Foul's decision not to take knee defended by Catalan Dragons coach Steve McNamara. Foul was the only player not to join in BLM support gesture ahead of St Helens versus Catalan Dragons as Super League returns. Catalan's coach Steve McNamara defended Israel Foul's decision not to take a knee ahead of his Super Team League match against St Helens. Officials and players from both sides knelt in a show of support for the Black Lives Matter movement moments before Sunday afternoon's kickoff at Headingley, which is exactly what I said a moment ago. Almost everyone took the knee, especially everyone on the field, but this one guy refused to do so, and rightly so. Foul, who signed a one-year contract extension with Catalan Dragons last month, did not take part in the pre-match gesture and remained standing as others around him dropped on one knee, something Catalan Dragons coach Steve McNamara described as a personal choice, which obviously it is, though personally I really think that the league should stop the players from doing this. Up until this year, it was unheard of for sports to take a political stance on everything, as we all know with the Poppy situation and the FA a few years ago. Now it seems virtue signalling is all that really matters to these sporting organisations, which is actually something we have seen over in America today with the Get Woke, Go Broke sports losing out on a shit ton of viewers, as was reported earlier this morning. Apparently NBA games and things like that are getting less than 1 million viewers per game, which is unheard of for the sport in America. As a group of players and coaching staff, we spoke about it in depth, and as a club, we are completely against racism and all for equal opportunity, he said. But there were some players and staff who made the decision to not take the knee. That was based on personal choice. They have their own reasons for doing that, and we decided we would respect anyone's personal choice on the matter. Because obviously, that is what you do unless you are an authoritarian dictatorship, as we all know, which is actually what the BLM movement and its pushers really want. But I have got to say, well done to this guy for standing up and not taking a knee and being a complete and utter cuck like most of the other sports people are in this day and age. They will all run around taking a political stance on this, but none of them will stand tall and be counted when it comes to calling out the grooming gang situation and the variety of other shit shows that we are dealing with on a daily basis. But hopefully, as time progresses, more and more sports stars and people in public life will take a stance against this shit show that is the BLM movement and the bullshit that surrounds it.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.